think I just made a copy again.
Oh, in the bad link, you could in the chat you could put the better link.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Is this link really dead though? There's 25 people in here.
Okay.
I think I just made it. It's like an empty, so it's just. I don't know why it doesn't sync, but I guess yeah.
Oh wait, can you say to go to this link instead?
Yeah.
Okay. In the chat.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, Christina, can you update the links now?
Okay.
It's like an empty, so it's just. I don't know why it doesn't sync. But...
Oh,
So in the old link, I'm redirecting them to this one.
Okay.
So you can wait a bit for people to come. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, got it.
So in the old link, I'm redirecting them to this one. So you can wait a bit for people to come.
Oh wait,
Yeah, got it.
okay. Hello. Is my audio okay in the YouTube? Okay. And just wait a bit for more people to come.
Rahul, could you update the link?
I guess we could start around like 7:10 then. Yeah. Thanks for coming, everyone. Okay, we'll start in a bit. Thanks, everyone. Okay, I guess I could start now. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Intro to Android Studio workshop. This workshop was brought to you by WICS at Stony Brook University. So WICS stands for Women in Computer Science. We are a organization at Stony Brook, part of the CES clubs and organizations. So yeah, let's get started. So what are we doing in this workshop? In this workshop, we will create an Android app with buttons that allow the user or you to manipulate an array list. So is anyone taking CSE 214? The material in this workshop is related to what was taught in CSE 214. Yeah, so like in 214, you guys learn like data structures, and we'll be using an array list. So let's work on downloading it if you haven't done so already. So downloading and set up Android Studio. You should download Android Studio at this link. And you will get prompted with this window for the setup. And make sure you check off Android virtual device over here. Yep, and after that you would click next. And in the installation, you just keep clicking next and OK. And at one point they ask you like a standard install, and you could click that. You don't need to change any of the default options, and downloading will take a while. We'll just give like a few minutes for downloading for those who are like doing this while the workshop slides are happening. If anyone has like difficulties downloading, you can always put it in the chat. But yeah, you could also just follow along. I think downloading takes a while, so yep. We will be giving out this slideshow like URL afterwards. So if you fall behind or something, or have any questions about a certain part, you can just review the slides, and also you can reach out to us. We will be in the SBU Hacks Discord, and also we have our Facebook group, our Instagram, and our own Discord. WICS has a Discord, and we also have an email. You could email us. Our website is sbuwics.com. So I guess just to move forward, I don't see people typing in chat about the download, so that's fine. You could also like follow along. So after this window will pop up and says start, you would click this, start a new Android Studio project. And here you would choose an empty activity. The other options are for like different templates you could start with your app. Okay, someone says make sure the Android virtual, it's yeah, so the virtual device is checked. Yep. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, so after that, you would have the name of it, and the default would be my application. You could change this to edit list. And also the language we will be using today will be Java. Yeah. If you have any questions in the middle of this presentation or when I'm talking, feel free to put in the chat. So you should check if you have the Android emulator installed. So you go to File Settings and we'll open up this window. You go down here, System Settings, Android SDK. Also, you have SDK Tools and Android Emulator. Make sure that's checked. So then after that, the window will start off like this. So you could see there's like a MainActivity.java and activity_main XML. So for Java files, this is where we will create our Java classes, like in this folder, and we will be coding in Java. The Java classes provide functionality to our Android app. Oh, also for the activity_main XML, if this tab doesn't show up to you for you guys, you can also like go over here. I enlarged the image over here, so go to like layout and it's right here. So XML files are the visuals of the screen, so like the phone screen. This is where we will add buttons and text. You can see here in the palette, there's like different components that you could use, like buttons, images, sliders, and ads. So we have to download an Android emulator to like have, so that we could test our app on our computer. You could also use like an actual Android phone, but you could just download an Android emulator. So you go up in the right corner and then down here. So it's called AVD Manager. So after that, you get this screen and it says create a virtual device. Click that. This window will pop up. So you can choose like different phone models. I just chose the Pixel 2 because it was just defaulted to that. Click next. And then you have the different release names and stuff. I just clicked this one. It's the latest one. And then you will have this menu up here and like you successfully downloaded it. So as you can see now, like this used to be blank, now it has the Pixel 2 that we downloaded. And you can also click the green play button to run the app. So after you run the app, Android like phone window will pop up. You could like check that it's working and stuff. So it works like an actual phone. So if you click like this square button, it will like close the windows and stuff. Like it functions like an actual phone. Like you just have to click for the touch screen thing. So after we get all that set up, hopefully there's no errors. So project overview. In this project, we are going to edit a list of strings. Things that we will code are adding an element to the end of a list, removing an element from the list with an index inputted by the user, display the list, clear the list, and get random element from the list. So the list, like the data structure we will be using for the list will be an array list. Data structure that is used like in the Java library. So if you don't know what an array list is, I'll just have a quick overview. So it is a resizable array and it comes with pre-made or like predefined methods in the Java library. So as you can see here in this GIF or GIF, however you say it, you add it at the end of the list. You could add it to the end and then you could remove, and it like shifts and shrinks the whole list for you. So an overview on arrays. So it's like a continuous block of memory that is allocated, and there's like, so you could have different, like store different things into it, and to access those things, use indexes. So it starts from 0, and it could like increment with, like the index increments with the next things in the array. So this array size is 10. So here we have the array list methods that are in the Java library. We have add, we have clear, index of, get, remove, size, other methods. So you could just, there's like documentation on this, and you could like read through it. Yep. So adding to an array list. So adding an element to an array list, you could use it, you could do it by specifying the position or index. So let's say we want to add it at index 3. So you would call the dot add with the index in the parameter of the method, and then it will shift down these elements after it for you. Yep. You can see 55 was added here. The rest is shifted down. So same logic applies to removing. So if you want to remove 23, it like removes it, and the rest of the elements after that will be shifted left 1 to left if you remove 1. So there's no holes in the array. The size isn't predefined. It like grows, but when you call dot size, it will tell you how long it is, the array list is, but there's no like, there's no like, it's not like a normal array where you would have to keep changing the size. It's like you could keep adding to it. So like in this GIF again, you could see like before 76, that was like how long the array was, but then when you add it to the end, it expands, like the array list grows, like it's not predefined yet. So any questions? I'll give it a few minutes, or like 1 or 2 minutes. Yeah, for array list, you do not need to assign a size. You have to do that for an array, but not an array list. Yeah. So the next part of this workshop is the XML portion. As I mentioned earlier, it's the visual part of the Android screen. So let's start with the XML files first, or file first. We will start with it and then incorporate the functions afterwards. So you can see here, we don't need hello world, so I'll just delete that. And then I will be using a linear layout vertical to display things row by row. And I'll have a text view. A text view is like just displaying a normal text. And you could see you could see in the palette here, this is where I got the linear layout vertical. As I said, displays content row by row. And then the ID here on the right side of the screen, there was the attributes. So the ID is used to identify the object name or component. So it's similar to a variable name, how you like name your variables. And also I changed the text from the default text view to say, let's edit a list. So it's like here in the common attributes. Yeah, so I changed the ID to title because this will be the title on the screen. It is good practice to keep name IDs relevant. So yep. Also, you can change the text size. You can change it here with text size manually, but you could also use the what Android Studio has is text appearance. So I just chose the text appearance medium, and that will be 18 SP, so like size 18. All attributes also has other attributes you can edit. There's like a bunch of them. Feel free to look through them. So we also want to center a text view. So in the attribute panel, you could type Control F or click the magnifying glass and then type gravity. You can see here, set gravity, like check it off to center, and that will align your text center. So text view displays strings, like just, normally plain text is different. It's kind of like a text box, so a user can click the box and type into the text box. So when you in your web browser, when on the top you want to type in like google.com, it's kind of like that. So the user clicks it and then you can type into the text box. So here is what you could have. So I have the title here, and then after that I added another text view. I called it list title, and I just made the text the list, and I made text appearance large. And then I also added list text as also another text view. I made the ID here, and so I actually made it bigger, like the box. I dragged it down. So list text. This is where we will display the array list that we will be editing and manipulating. So, as I mentioned before, palette. You can also nest linear layout vertical with linear layout horizontals. So vertical row by row, horizontal is like column from left to right, kind of like that. So nesting linear layouts. Here's like an enlarged picture of down here. So I want to add more options, to add something to the list. I nested this linear layout horizontal in this main layout vertical. So yeah, so you can see this is all in a row because of the parent linear layout vertical, but then the name and the button are left and right each other, like column order based on this linear layout horizontal. So we have I put a plain text and then I put a button. So you can also run the app and see that when you click on name and type in the box, it doesn't clear off name, it actually is text there. So in order to get rid of this, you have to backspace it every time. That's kind of annoying for the user. So to change this, we will I'll say it in a how to change this. So here's a video about what I was talking about, how it's kind of annoying, an annoying user experience to have. You have to get rid of the whole thing. So we don't want that. So this is because of text. You can see here name. We can delete name and leave it blank. But if we leave it blank, what people usually have is called a hint. So it's kind of grayed out on the the text box. So it tells you, or kind of hints towards the user about what they're supposed to type there. So they don't have to backspace every time. So the hint I made it was type something. You can see here it's like grayed out. So yeah, so for these things down here, I changed the ID to be more relevant. I changed this button to the text to say add. Yeah, here's a bigger image if it was hard to see. So let's finish the rest of the options. So we did add, we have remove with index, we have clear and pick random element left. Okay. So you can see here, adding the rest. So you can see I put it in the parent is this one. I added a linear layout horizontal. I'm gonna put a number this time instead of TextView because we want a number for the index. We don't want a string. Button so that after the user writes the number, they'll press the button. Oh, don't forget to change the size of the box because the linear layout like extends all the way to the bottom of the screen. So we want to like make it smaller. So you can see there, I dragged it back up. So here I'm gonna add the hint, enter an index. I'm gonna change these IDs to be more relevant. We don't want like all our buttons on this app to be just button 1 to like 10. It's not useful. Name this one remove index input. We have clear. And pick random. So like you saw, you could nest these linear layouts. Make sure to nest them under the correct parent. So like, otherwise it'll be like a different order. It'll look different. So this is what I did. You can see the component tree here. You can see the screen here. So now that the XML is finished, we finished placing all the text views, inputs, and buttons we need to do for now. But right now the buttons don't do anything. This is because we didn't code any methods for the buttons. So when you click the button, it doesn't do anything. We only did the visuals. Oops, sorry. So things we need to code next. We want like the functionality, like we want to press the button, we want it to add the element to the end of the list. We want to remove the elements from the list using an index. We also want to clear, which removes all elements from the list. We also want to pick random, which chooses a random element from the list. So I'll just take a little pause for any questions, and also if people need to catch up. If you're like scared that you're too far behind already, I believe that this video is going to be like uploaded later, and also I will link the slides at the end of this workshop. So the next part we'll work on is the Java coding. So now we'll write the Java files. Java files will provide functionality to our buttons. So like the methods we want to call when we click the button. So make a new Java class for called list. So you go to file, new, click Java class, name it list. So as you can see, after you do that, make sure that it is in the same folder as main activity. So in the list class, we will code methods that will manipulate an array list. So like an add method, a remove, a remove method, etc. So just code how you would do this in Java. So list Java class. So you can instantiate an array list of strings. So we have static array list string. Name gonna call this array list the list. And then we have new array list. And then once you type this out, you like array list will be highlighted and says like an error or something. So when your like cursors on array list, just type Alt Enter to, and it will automatically like import the Java array list for you, and then this will pop up. So we want to import Java util.ArrayList because it will know what it is and like use the Java library for that. So the list Java class, we want to define these methods. So like view list. So each element in the list should have a string formatted like this, so it's like easier to read. So we want like instead of index 0, which makes sense in like the data structure array or array list, but it doesn't. We really like we don't want our list to like start off with 0, so we're just gonna change it to 1. So that means all the indexes have to be +1 when we're like displaying the list to the user. So we have 1 and then the element and then a new line. Okay, and then we have add to list, which adds a string s. Like you could see like no parameters, parameter, no parameter. Use the methods from the Java array list library. Yeah, so for add to list, remove from list, clear list, you can just use the method from the Java array list library, like they already have it for you. So you only need 1 line of code really. So after you code that, it should look something like this. Yeah, so it could just take some time to view it over. So yeah, just like normal Java. So we have the class list and then view list. We want, we use a for loop to go through each element thing in the list. So we have int I equals 0, I less than the list dot size. So an array list has dot size where you could call and it returns the size. And then I plus plus. So yeah, as I was saying, you should increase the index by 1 when you want to display the string. And then you return this string. Then we have the add method. Array list has dot add we could use, and then remove, and then clear, like dot remove dot clear, and then dot remove uses the index. So we have MainActivity.java. So let's go, like we were in the list.java class. So let's go back to the MainActivity.java, which is like the class that like we use for the Android app. So like list.java, it's kind of like a plain Java thing. So in MainActivity.java, it comes with like code already. It comes with like a method called onCreate, which runs when the app starts. So this is like an Android Studio thing. And then the Java code needs to retrieve the components like the text and buttons that we defined from the XML. We do this with find view by ID. So this is the syntax we need to use. So like I put like the syntax down here and I used it in lines 18 to 20. And then you also don't forget to do lines 23 to 26 to instantiate them here. Yep. Here's a better look at it. Same thing. So we should make methods in the MainActivity.java file. So right now we wrote methods in list.java, but they only, like they changed, like they modified the array list, but we also have like a visual component to our app, like to our codes. So we also need to update the view. So we will define these methods in main activity. So these methods will be called on by clicking the buttons. Yeah, so you could just use like this syntax, public void add, and then view. So view acts as a listener. So yeah, Android Studio has like this, I guess, object type called view. So we need to make an add method or a move method and a clear method. Pick random method you could also do, but we'll do this later. I'm not sure we'll get to it. So yeah. So after you code that, it should look something like this. So let me just go through this code. So public void add. So the button can call on this method, which is what I said before. And then string thing equals add input. So this add input was like the XML like ID of like the plain text that we created. So to get the text that the user types in it, you could just write dot get text, and then it's not really like a string object, so we have to write dot to string. And then we have add input, set the text to empty. So like after they click the button, we want to clear the text box, like every time they use it. We also have list.add to list and the thing. So this add to list was like the list, like the method we made in list.java, which actually does it to the array list. And then we want to set the list text, and like list text was like the text box we use to display the elements in the list. So we want to update that. So we do dot set text. And then like with that logic, you could just apply that same logic to remove and also clear. So like, as I mentioned before, because like the user will type 1 instead of 0. So we do a-1. Yep. If there's any questions, feel free to type it. I'll just take a little pause here just for people to catch up, or just like, you know, anything you guys have. Okay, guess I'll move on. We're almost done. So the next, I think, last part of this workshop, there's still like, in this workshop, I won't cover everything. Like in the slides, there's even like more stuff that you guys could go through. But yeah, okay, the next thing is onClick. So buttons and onClick. So after, like when you click a button, it has this thing called onClick. So after you click it, it will execute the code that you put here. So we want to execute the methods we just defined. So set button onClick to our methods that we just defined in main activity. JavaScript also has like onClick and stuff like that because, you know, JavaScript also has buttons. HTML and stuff. So here I'm just changing the onClicks to the methods. So Android Studio like knows like our methods exist. So we could just drop down and like click it. So now that we did that, we can just test our app now. So here's like when I could like test out the app. So I wrote thing 1 and click add, and you could see it like updates the view and actually displays it. Also same with like index. I mean removing with index. So here could be like a grocery list or something, baking list. Yeah. Yeah, I do agree that Android Studio looks better than it did like 3 years ago, which was like, or 2 years ago when I last really used it. But yeah, like they changed our logo. Like instead of like dark green or light green, now it's neon green. Yeah. So this is the end of our virtual workshop. Like virtual is a bit like different, but hope you guys found it useful. Thanks for coming. If you want to continue this project, you can read the rest of the slides at this link. So bit.ly/wix_android, and we will post these on our social medias right after this. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yep. Guys have any questions? You can put them in chat. I think kind of went through this workshop a little faster because I don't really like virtual format is different. So yeah. Yeah, so in the slides I actually have like more content, like other things you could do. I think it'll take too long to cover in this workshop, but yeah. Thanks for coming. I will still like be here for any questions.